Hey guys, Elizabeth, the curly-haired country gal here. Now, at the Ozarks Homesteading Festival, I was inspired by Bo Brown and his talk on foraging the Ozarks to get out and forage. So my good friend BreAnna came to our home a few weeks ago and she helped me identify a bunch of species. Take a look. I'm so excited. We are going to be going around and starting to forage. So right here, we have a ton of plantain in our yard. So I'm going to see what Bo Brown says about it. Everything about it is edible. The leaves, the shoots, and the seeds. A lot of people use it as a poultice. I have heard that before too. I think maybe when it came to bee stings, that you can like chew it up and stick it on your bee sting. Have you heard that too? My friend BreAnna has heard that as well. It's found throughout the U.S. and it mentions in here that it tolerates a high degree of disturbances like trampling, which is wonderful because that's what we do. And then it says that you can use the raw leaves, raw shoots and young leaves to add to your salad, either raw or blanched or sauteed. So I really need to do that because they're all over. So tell us what you found.
This is a type of mint. It's either beef mint or the field mint. And one of the ways that you can see if it is actually mint is to look at the stem. It comes in a square. So anything with a square stem is part of the mint family and is generally edible.
And you were saying that if it grows up like this because it's in bad soil.
So Elizabeth's right here has got this really long stem and we can actually see some roots trying to get off of it back into the soil. But if it's a harder and a rocky soil, it's going to root up like this. If it's a good soil, it's going to be closer to the ground and spread like furiously.
Mm-hmm. And she pointed out that in the book there's actually a recipe with this. So
yes.
I have no idea what that is, but maybe we'll try it someday. Tell us what you're exploring here.
Okay, so nettle, we know a lot of stinging nettle around here, is like mint. It has a square stem and the bilateral leaves, so the leaves shoot out one side and then they shoot out the other side like a square. So I was wondering if this is probably mint. This is probably one that has been, because it's really wet down here.
Oh.
I was thinking it was nettle because it had the big leaves. And most of what I'm seeing in Elizabeth's yard is short and small like this. But when I was looking at the root, it's the same type as that down there. It'll have kind of like the bark looking lines, but it's not bark.
Oh, okay.
It's smooth like an almond peel.
Wow, and that's common to mint plants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I really think this is a mint.
Really?
And it has just grown up really big.
Wow,
So
and
there's some really nice
some more
leaves
over
for
here.
salad.
So with the field mint, BreAnna was just saying that her grandma used to just put it in salads, and obviously it's used for teas. It doesn't mention in the book that it's what is edible on it, but we're gonna go with that it's edible. It just mentions in the comments section that there's a lot of health benefits to it. So mint, check. Okay, we haven't taken 3 steps away from my door yet, and we're on our species number 3. Do you know what this is?
These are wild violets.
Oh.
Yeah. So the flowers are really good. He's actually got a recipe for violet tart. I know a lot of people around here make violet jelly, but the leaves and the flower are edible, and like you see, it just spreads.
Oh, awesome. I wonder if this is what's growing on our back porch too. We'll get around there eventually. So I found violets, page 178. What's edible are the flowers and the young leaves. BreAnna was just saying that when she took walks with her kids, they would just pick them off and eat them. So it says in here, Bo points out that violets can contain double the amount of vitamin C than citrus per weight and double the amount of vitamin A than spinach. And it's in my backyard! Or front yard, depending on who you ask. So BreAnna was just telling me that these violets are going to stay about this size. They're probably not going to get much bigger.
Yeah, and then I was telling her this is a look-alike plant.
Birdworts or pipe vines. Yes, the roots are still edible, but I guess you wouldn't eat the leaves?
Well, it can be used like a wild ginger.
Okay.
But their leaves are going to start at this size and get bigger.
Okay.
Chicken!
That's right! Oh, they start at this size. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they'll be a little lighter green.
Okay.
Yep.
And when you say use as a ginger, you mean the root?
Yes.
Okay. What did you just find?
A dandelion.
Yay!
This is actually one of my favorite, quote, weeds.
Oh.
Every part of the dandelion is edible, like down to the roots. You can make dandelion coffee or dandelion tea. And the yellow flowers, I like to save those in oil and use those a lot in my salve.
And Junebug is interested in the dandelions too. With the dandelion, just like with probably most of the things we're going to find, or a lot of them, you can use it in salads, the young tender leaves, or you can use the flowers. BreAnna was saying that she had heard of making dandelion wine, which he mentions in here. And you can saute it, or you can just add it if you want something a little bit more bitter in your meal or in your salad. So, and everything's edible. It says something, and BreAnna was mentioning something about using the roots to make dandelion coffee. Is that what it's called? Just dandelion? Ooh, in the Civil War, dandelion coffee. So the whole thing is edible. The leaves, flowers, buds, and roots. And tell us what you found next.
So this is common burdock, and I was telling Elizabeth I have curly burdock at my house, and the difference, of course, would be in the leaves. So the older a burdock root gets, the curlier the edges of the leaves get. Like right down here, it's starting to get really curly.
Okay.
So this is a new plant. They have the taproot, and they start getting purple down here.
And what is a taproot again?
A taproot is the major root in the middle.
Okay.
So they don't have a lot of offshoot roots.
Huh.
It's that one main root.
Okay. And what would be a plant that doesn't have a taproot?
Like most of your trees don't have taproots because
Okay.
they have them that branch off.
Okay.
So with a burdock though, you can eat the leaves, of course, in a salad, or lots of people like to eat them like poke greens. They'll fry them up.
Oh, like pokeweed greens.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, and then you can eat the root too, down in there. And in fact, he's got 2 recipes. There's what the root would look like if you're able to get it. It grows in rocky soil, so most of the time you're going to get something small like that.
Okay.
But those are the recipes that he's got in there.
Some fried burdock shoots, and what does the other one say?
Asian stir-fried burdock. I used to take burdock root as a supplement because I had heart palpitations as a teenager. So you'd make it as a tincture and you can drink it from. Okay, so this is wood sorrel.
Really? Oh, it's not
Yeah.
clover. Okay.
No, they look like clover, but the difference is they don't have the white ring on them, and they are definitely more heart-shaped flowers.
Yep.
And smaller.
And sorrel. What do you know about sorrel?
So they have, you can see them right here. There's a little flower coming. They have the yellow flowers, and then they have these little seed pods. And you can actually eat them. They're kind of tart and sour. My kids love to go eat these and just pop them in their mouth. But as far as I know, they're just really good to add for salads, that extra little bit. They're high in vitamin C, and he's got another recipe in here, creamed wood sorrel soup.
So with the sorrel, like BreAnna was saying, great for salads. One of the warnings in here is that it is high in the oxalate acid, so you just want to either cook it or not go crazy with eating it raw. Awesome. And here we've got some clover. BreAnna was saying that if you see the white on it, it's likely a white clover, and not as much white on there if it's going to be a red clover.
Yeah.
And clover's probably edible too, right?
Oh, yes. Every part, the clover flower and the clover itself are all edible.
Awesome. So we are not 15 feet away from my porch, and we have already encountered a whole bunch of species. So BreAnna's going to make sure I don't miss any. We've got dandelion, violet, clover, wood sorrel, burdock, plantain, and mint. 7. Wow. We got done with a lovely lunch break, and now we're back at it, and we are 20 feet from the house now and have found dayflowers, which BreAnna is going to tell us about.
This right here are dayflowers. Around here we call them spiderworts. And I'll pick the flower off for you to see. Oh, we got the whole plant. There we go. So it again has almost like a taproot. It's got one main root, and it's got long spiky leaves, and then these pretty blue flowers.
Can I see that? I'm having a hard time zooming in with this background of... There we go. And the stems and the flowers are edible?
Yes, the stems and the flowers.
But not the leaves?
And the leaves.
And the leaves.
They're all slightly sweet.
Okay.
They can be eaten raw in salads, or they can be one of those pot herbs. So, like if you're doing greens.
Awesome. And then over here we just stumbled across some more sorrel, I can't remember it for the life of me yet, but I'm getting there. And is this some more mint?
This is over there, so that probably is.
Okay. And this is too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, more mint? Okay.
Yep. So mint you will find you have to either eradicate it by pulling up the roots or be very happy where you have it.
Oh, okay, I'm happy. You just stay here, little mint. So this we're thinking is just kind of an ornamental bush, a holly, BreAnna was saying, that just kind of exploded. And then back here we're thinking this is just, we're not quite sure what this is, but just maybe some sort of houseplant that like went crazy. Oh, and then she just told me this is a bosswood fern. Any idea on medicinal or edible?
It's a Boston fern.
Boston fern. Are those edible?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So here's a little morning glory on here.
Yep.
Which are edible, right?
Yes.
And
they're mining all up in between that.
Okay.
So that would be these leaves.
Oh.
Any of those leaves that you're seeing is from this one.
Okay. So like this is a bigger one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, so you can see how it's all intertwined up in.
BreAnna was looking at the willow and I was like, yeah, it's a tree. And she was like, okay, she's got to tell me about this.
Yeah, so you got to add it to your foraging. Willows are medicinal. So if you break off part of this, so you can take it like this and just chew it. It will taste nasty. Utterly nasty. It's like chopping up an aspirin or a Tylenol and tasting that, because it's got stuff in here that help with headaches, pains, bruises. This is where you get your Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
So,
okay, so not for your salad, but for your headache.
Yep. For your headaches, sprains, anything like that.
So keep going. She was saying that you can also put it on sprains. Tell us how you would do that.
So if you chew it up and you make a poultice, you can stick it on wherever and wrap it, and it'll help the swelling go down.
So we just ran into some Smartweeds. We weren't quite sure what this was, but it was in the book. So thanks, Bo. And the shoots and leaves and flower heads are all edible on this. It's hard for it to zoom with all that green. There we go. Hey, Junebug. How you doing? And tell me about these mushrooms.
So these are, we just call them yard mushrooms. There are lots and lots of varieties of these little brown mushrooms.
Okay.
And about half of them are edible and half of them are not. These I wouldn't eat. They're probably fine, but what this means is this is great soil and things are loving it. They're growing really good right here.
Oh, awesome. We're admiring these pretty flowers. She's saying that they're poisonous, so we don't know what they are yet, but we're going to avoid eating them. It's time to talk about pokeweed. Tell me all about it.
I love it. It's beautiful. So, of course, it is dangerous.
The seeds, not the juice or the tender leaves.
The leaves can be. So
That's
why
right.
Around here you're told to cook it. A lot of people have pokeweeds, and what they'll do, we were talking to Elizabeth, was they'll take the leaves and they'll cook it down in a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of sugar, kind of like spinach, like a wet salad.
And that's what they call a pot herb. Am I saying that right?
A pot herb, yeah.
And look how giant these stalks are getting. It just flopped over.
As kids, we love to take the berries and pound them on the ground or in a jar and write with them like ink.
Oh, that's awesome.
But you gotta wash your hands. You can't
Okay.
get it in your mouth.
Yep, and so Bo mentions in the book that boiled. You want to go with boiled shoots, boiled young leaves, but you can use the berry juice to make things. So I have my electric fence here that goes around the orchard and the rabbitry, and there's just a ton of mint we're finding. I was telling BreAnna, at some point along the way, somebody mentioned that when you're going through the forest, when you first arrive, if you're new to this, it just looks like a big wall of green, but once you know what some of the things are, things just pop out left and right. So even just looking at the ground here, we've got some more plantain, we've got some more clover. So now I know what some of these things are. And there's the flower of the clover. And there's a wild willow branch. Yes. And BreAnna was saying that this, what did you call this?
Rose of Sharon.
Rose of Sharon. I feel like there's an old worship song called that. I think my mom really liked it. And so she was saying that most people keep it like a bush, like it is right here, which I've seen this, and I knew the flowers were the same, but I didn't realize that it could grow into a tree. Okay, so as I'm looking over here again, we've got just a mint everywhere.
There's some violets.
Oh, and some violets. Ah, yep, okay. And then more dandelion over here.
This is your dayflower.
Oh, and more dayflower. Okay, I didn't recognize that one. And more plantain. Okay, what did you just find?
So this is in the Purslane family, and they are edible.
Okay.
They like to spread. This is the patch right here. And the thing you have to remember about any of the Purslane families are if you break this stem and the stem does not have any milky white substance, it's edible.
If it doesn't have milky white, it's edible.
Yep.
If it has milky white, don't eat it.
Then it's false Purslane.
Then it's false. It's not the right plant. Okay.
Pretty.
Okay, I was just asking BreAnna what these lovely things are, because I thought it was new, but it's got the blue flower, so we're thinking this is the dayflower, just bigger. And then more mint. Wow.
Oh, I was looking at this one back here.
Oh.
So these get mixed up between three things. Either
Carrot.
a carrot,
Uh-huh.
a Queen Anne's lace, or hemlock.
And only carrots are edible.
Well, actually, the Queen Anne's lace is edible too.
Really?
You
I
can
thought
eat
that
the
was
flower.
poisonous.
If you cook it down, you can eat the flower.
Oh, okay, but if it looks like a carrot, you got to be careful. He did mention in the class yesterday, well, do you know how you would tell if it's
If it's hemlock,
or if it's carrot? His tip was that if it smells like carrot, it's carrot.
yeah, that's all I've heard.
Yeah. No,
I
thanks,
do know
Messiah.
that if you find hemlock, you do have to call the poison for all your
Queen's Anne's lace.
because that's what this is up here.
Oh.
So the seeds have just fallen down here.
Oh, those.
Yeah, this is the dried Queen Anne's.
No way.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can zoom in on the middle of that, but there's still a bunch of seeds right there.
Okay.
No, poison
it's not.
ivy trellises.
This is not poison ivy. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Excellent.
This is a tree.
We're about to head up the drive, but she found some more burdock.
Yeah, it's starting over there too.
Okay. Up the driveway. We just ran into this little beauty on the driveway, which was being pollinated as we speak by a hard-working lady. So this is cut-leafed coneflower. And the shoots and the leaves are edible. Okay. Even on the bridge, some jump seed. The leaves are edible.
Leaves and flowers.
Leaves and flowers. What? She just found some wild wheat. Oh, that's great. And Junebug is okay. Oh, wow. Okay. And I just thought that was grass seed. This is the one I was wondering about. I'll see if we can find it in our book. You did see it? Okay, it turns out it is a meadow thistle. And, like with most things, the shoots, young leaves, and peeled stems and seeds are edible.
So if it says a peeled stem, then if you get stems that are really big, you should be able to cook them like asparagus and then peel them.
Oh, awesome. Okay, and then we found some more wild thistle, just younger, hasn't blossomed yet. Found some of this earlier, and it's a wild lettuce. So it has kind of a bitter flavor, would you say? Yeah.
You could eat the seeds, but yeah, the leaves are what you would use the most.
Okay, she just found some poison oak for us.
Yep.
Five leaves coming out.
So the rhyme is leaves of 3, leave them be.
Yep.
Leaves of 5 will give you hives, and leaves of 7, oh my heaven.
Oh wow, what has 7 leaves?
Poison sumac.
Poison sumac. Is all sumac's not poisonous, is it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
We're looking for some poison ivy in here, but we found poison oak instead. Now, I'm at her home right now, and we have actually been working on some yucca. And I was planning on putting yucca in this video, but this is like forming into this whole other thing. And so check out the next video where we're going to talk about how we're going to be making soap using this yucca root.